remember, for solving one-step equations, all you need to do is undo whatever's being done to the variable. So this first one over here, x plus 5 is equal to 25. Well, what's happening to my variable? What's happening to x? I'm adding 5 to it. So how do I undo that? Well, opposite of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So I'm going to subtract 5, but I got to do it to both sides. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you got to do to the other to balance things out. This plus 5 and minus 5, they're going to cancel, and I'll be left with 0 there. Remember, I don't have to write that. So I'll just bring down that x, and I have x is equal to 25 minus 5 is 20. And I can substitute 20 back into this x up here, and then if I add that 5, I'll get 25. So this answer is right. All right, next one, y plus 2 is equal to 7. So again, undo whatever is being done to the variable. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Those are going to cancel, and I'll be left with y is equal to 7 minus 2 is 5. All right, x minus 9 is equal to 12. I'm going to undo whatever's being done to x. So in this case, we're subtracting 9. So to do the opposite, or to undo it, I will add 9 to both sides. Those are going to cancel out. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0. And I'll have x is equal to 21. All right, up here, t minus 100 equals 0. Just undo it. So I'll add 100 to both sides. So I'll have t is equal to 100. The minus 100 and plus 100, those cancel, and then 0 plus 100 is 100. And this makes sense. If I plug this back in for t, 100 minus 100 is definitely 0. All right, x plus 4 equals negative 6. So I'll just subtract 4 from both sides to undo that plus 4. That's going to cancel. So I'll have x is equal to negative 6 minus 4, which is going to be negative 10. All right, w minus 3 equals negative 10. So I'll undo that minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides. Those will cancel out. So we'll have w is equal to negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. All right, negative 11 plus x equals 19. So whatever's being done to the variable, we want to undo it. So we're adding an 11, or adding negative 11. And usually I like to write them like this. I'm going to put the variable first. So I'll do x plus negative 11 equals 19. But adding a negative is just like subtracting a positive. So I can really just write it like this. And this is a bit more familiar as to the ones that we've been doing so far. So I'll just add 11 to both sides. Those will cancel, and I'll get x is equal to 19 plus 11 is 30. And plug it back in if you need to check. Negative 11 plus 30 is definitely going to give us 19. All right, 25 plus a equals 26. Again, I like to have the variable come first, and it's usually more common that you see it that way. So I'll rewrite it, swap them around, and do a plus 25 equals 26. So I might ask myself, what number plus 25 is 26? I know it's 1. So when I do my subtraction here, when I undo what's being done to the variable, I know I'm going to get 1 as an answer. I know I should get 1 as an answer. If I don't, I did something wrong. But 26 minus 25 is 1. So that looks good. All right, next up, 2x equals 20. When I don't have an addition sign, subtraction sign, multiplication, or division sign between two terms, just as in the case we have here, just 2 and x, they're just next to each other, that means they're being multiplied. So in other words, this is 2 times x equals 20. So again, undo whatever's being done to the variable. We're multiplying it by 2. Well, what would undo multiplication by 2? What's the opposite of multiplying by 2? Well, it's dividing by 2. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. These 2's are going to cancel out. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we'll have 1x equals 20 divided by 2 is 10. And remember, I don't need to write, and I really shouldn't because you just don't see it. Don't write 1 if that's your coefficient. You can just write it as x is equal to 10. All right, 4 times n is equal to 8. So 4 times what number is 8? Well, we know it's 2, so we'll know that that's what we should get. But I can just undo whatever's being done to the variable. So instead of, or since I'm multiplying by 4, I'll divide by 4. Those 4's are going to cancel. I'll have n is equal to 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, negative 5x equals 25. Again, I'm going to undo whatever's being done to the variable. So divide by negative 5 since we're multiplying by negative 5 to start. And then I'll do it to both sides. Those are going to cancel out, so I'll just be left with x is equal to 25 over 5 is 5, but 25 over negative 5 is negative 5. Okay, over here, x divided by 7 equals 1. Remember, we don't use this division sign moving forward. It's very rare that you see it. So if we're taking x and dividing it by 7, the opposite of that would be to multiply by 7. That's how we would undo a division. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. These will cancel, so I'll just be left with x is equal to, and then 1 times 7 is 7. And that makes sense. Remember, plug it back in if you're not sure. 7 divided by 7, and then equals 1. Well, 7 over 7 is definitely 1, so that looks good. Okay, c divided by negative 10 equals 9. So again, I'm going to undo that divide by negative 10 by multiplying by negative 10 on both sides. Okay, so these will cancel out, and I'll have c is equal to 9 times negative 10 is negative 90. X divided by 3 is equal to 15. So I'll just multiply both sides by 3. These 3's are going to cancel, so I'll be left with x is equal to 15 times 3 is 45. And the last two here, 12 is equal to x over 2. So again, I like to put the variable term on the left side, so I'm just going to swap these around and make it x over 12 is equal to 12. And then all I want to do is multiply both sides by 12 to undo the division by 12. Those will cancel. I'll get x is equal to 12 times 12 is 144. All right, negative x is equal to 17. So remember, when we said that if you don't see a coefficient in front of your variable or to the left of the variable, it's understood there's a 1 there. So really, this is just negative 1x equals 17. So if I'm multiplying x by negative 1, all I do is divide both sides by negative 1. Those will cancel. And we'll get x is equal to 17. Or dividing any number by negative 1 is just going to change the sign. So I'll get negative 17 as x. All right, a couple word problems to put things into some real-world context. So let's say you and 2 friends, so 3 of you total, combine the money in your wallets, and altogether you'll have 37 bucks. Your 2 friends each have $4. How much do you have? So we know altogether you got 37, and your friends have $2 each, and we want to know how much you have. So since we don't know how much you have, let's call you x, and then your first friend has $4, and then the other friend also has $4, and if you add it all together, you're going to have $37. So before we do anything, let's just combine our like terms. I see 2 terms that I can combine here, the plus 4 and plus 4. That's going to make a plus 8, and not 87, but 37. And then now we can do our one-step equation. I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides. Those will cancel, so I'll have x is equal to, 29. So you have $29. Another word problem here. Find the length of the missing side of the triangle if the perimeter is 24. So the perimeter is the distance around the triangle, and we want to find the missing piece. So let's call this missing piece x. You can call it whatever variable you want. But if I add up all of the sides in this triangle, I'll get the perimeter, which I know is 24 inches. again, combine these like terms first. So a plus 11 is 19. So x plus 19 equals 24. I'll subtract 19 from both sides and get x is equal to 5. So 5 inches is the length of the missing side. The Atlanta Falcons had 363 total yards of offense. They rushed for 120 yards. So how much did they pass for? So we know that they rushed for 120, and then they threw for some amount. We'll call it P for pass yards. And then when you add those two together, you get 363. So let's solve for the missing variable. Again, I like to put the variable all the way to the left. So we'll have P plus 120 is equal to 363. To undo that adding 120, I'm going to subtract 120 from both sides. Those will cancel, and we'll get P is equal to, so that's going to be 243. So 243 passing yards.